everyone. Welcome. Is anybody out there? I see some people are there already. I like students that are here early. That's good. I want to give everybody just a little time to show up. Let's give them a minute because sometimes people are kind of late for class. So let me set this little egg timer for 1 minute. I don't know why it's called an egg timer. Eggs usually don't care what time it is. They don't run races and they don't take tests, at least not time tests. So when that goes off, we'll start our class. In the meantime, I want to introduce my faculty. I have my daughter Meryl here. She's going to be my official sign holder throughout the class. And I have my son Emmett. He's going to take any comments or questions that you might have. If you have comments or questions, the only way to reach us is through the CBS Evening News Facebook page. I know a lot of you are watching in other ways on other platforms. And that's fine. You can keep watching that way. But if you want to send a comment or send a question, you have to be on the CBS Evening News Facebook page. So we just got a little bit longer. I see some people are still showing up. We're here in my office. I can show you around a little bit. Here's my my rubber band ball. Did you make this?
No, George made that.
My son George made it. He may show up a little later. I got that. Oh, there he is. This is George. We're just waiting for people to show up to class. George will also help if we have any comments or questions that you guys have. Okay, class is about to begin. Hopefully everybody's here. All right. I don't. Oh. Late slips. There's people still showing up. Okay, yeah, that's all right. I appreciate you guys bringing late slips. Thank you for that. All right, is everybody now seated? Take a seat. Class is about to begin. Okay, we are calling this class Kindness 101. And this is going to be different from a normal class because normally when you take class and you go to school, you study things like science and math and English. And those are all to help you figure out what you want to be when you grow up. This class is to help you with how you want to be when you grow up. And hopefully how you want to be is a kind person with lots of character. Now we're going to have 4 classes, and the first class, today's class, is going to be all about character. Meryl? These are the 4 classes, Monday through Thursday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Today is all about character, and this could be the most important one. You could call this class that we're having today character education. I've heard teachers call it that before. And really it's about establishing and trying to get you to be good characters. Not like characters in a book. That's a different thing. It's not that kind of character. This is kind of, it's like who you are, the kind of, right, kind of person you are, right? Yeah. Okay. What's the second thing on here, Meryl? What we're going to do tomorrow?
That's empathy.
Empathy. Okay, what does that mean even? We don't know. We'll figure it out by tomorrow, though, okay? The third thing here is friendship. Oh, get it? Okay, friendship. Very important. If you want to be kind, you got to know how to make friends, right? And the last, I don't want to try that word. What is that word?
I don't know.
Okay, looks like altruism. By Thursday, we'll figure out what that is. And I will have 4 stories for each day. Stories that kind of are good examples of, right? Yeah, good examples of what we're trying to teach that day. Okay, so today we're talking about character. Character, can I show this, Meryl? I think this is really cool. Meryl and all my kids have great character. This is a book that she filled out. If I had $100, I would buy, and she wrote down, what'd you say, Meryl? Household items for the homeless.
Yeah.
Now, she didn't write down, if I had 100, I'd want 100 marshmallows. Although I know you'd love 100 marshmallows if you had $100. She wrote down that she would help the homeless, which is really good. That shows good, strong character. That means that we're doing a good job here as parents. My wife's over here too. What else I want to say? Okay, there's also going to be one homework assignment. Just one homework assignment.
Okay.
But it's a good homework assignment.
Okay, good.
Okay, good. Because normally when you do homework, right, and you do a good job, you might get a gold star or something like that. Or you might be able to bring it home and show your parents. If you do a good job, there is a chance, it's a small chance, but there is a chance that I might put it on national television so millions of people could see it. okay? And I'm going to talk about that at the end of class today, because I've got to put something on TV on Friday, and it might be your homework. You never know. So stick around to the end, and I'll tell you about that opportunity. Okay, so recall. No, wait, that's good. You're good. You can hold that. You can go right over there if you want. Okay, thank you. You did a great job. Okay, so we're calling this class Kindness 101, but we could also call it Hero 101, I suppose, if we wanted to, because heroes, they often have really great character. Any of you guys, have you ever wanted to be any kind of hero? I know I did when I was a kid. This is me. I wanted to be Superman. And not only was this a costume that I wore on Halloween, I wore this costume pretty much every day for at least a year. And my favorite days were windy days, because I would go stand out in the wind, and if it was a big, strong gust, I would jump up in the air and I would pretend I was flying. That was my kind of hero. Now, as I've gotten older, my idea of a hero, my idea of somebody with really strong character has changed. For those of you who have no idea who I am, I do a segment called On the Road, and I travel around the country, and I find people who are kind of everyday heroes, people with some of the strongest character in the country, and I do stories about them. And those are the people that really have become my heroes today. Now, a lot of the people that I meet, a lot of the people with strong character, the heroes, are children. And today, the 4 stories, the 4 examples I have of people with good, strong character for you to follow, hopefully, are all kids. And I'm going to start with one who actually wears a cape, and his name is Austin. Let's watch this story and we'll talk about it afterwards.
He's faster than a speeding stroller, more adorable than a wet kitten, and able to get a stranger's attention with a single courtesy.
Excuse me?
This is America's latest superhero,
Don't forget to show love.
and the only superhero with the power to feed the homeless. Now, why do you do that?
You know what, Mr. C? It's just the right thing to do.
Is it?
Yes.
You want honey? By day, Austin P. Ryan is a mild-mannered 4-year-old from Birmingham, Alabama. But about once a week, he turns into this alter ego,
Would you like a sandwich?
a superhero set on feeding as many homeless people as possible.
Thank you. What's your superhero name?
President Austin.
President Austin.
President Austin?
President Austin. That's his idea of what the president is supposed to do. I was like, buddy, you have no idea. But hey, I'm going along with it.
TJ says this all began when they were watching a TV show about pandas. It showed a mama panda abandoning a baby. TJ told his son the cub was now homeless.
He says, what's homeless? I said, well, it's when you don't have a home and sometimes you don't have mom or dad around.
I can tell what the follow-up question is going to be.
Yeah, or people homeless. When I was a 4-year-old, I didn't care about helping people.
I did.
I see.
Once Austin learned some people are homeless and some are even hungry, he launched this caped crusade. Told his mom and dad that he wanted all his allowance and money they would spend on toys
Here you go.
to go toward chicken sandwiches instead.
Oh, thank you, baby.
You're welcome. Don't forget to show love.
After he gives out each sandwich,
Yes.
he gives each person that same bit of advice.
Don't forget to show love.
Don't forget to show love, he tells them. And most do, immediately.
Well, thank you. It warms my heart to say it.
It don't warm anyone. Yeah, he really did, man.
Raymond Boss says this kid gives him hope.
That's where it started.
Don't forget to show love.
Everyone who meets Austin leaves with hope. Which is why, with any luck, someday President Austin won't be a superhero anymore.
Being the homeless is the highlight of my life.
He'll just be a president.
All right, come on, Austin.
Steve Hartman, On the Road, in Birmingham, Alabama.
Okay. So one thing about that story that I think is worth mentioning is what Austin's dad said. He said that he would have never thought to feed the homeless when he was younger. Would you? Is that something that you would consider doing even now when you were 4? I wouldn't have. I don't think that's where my head was when I was 4 years old. I was much more focused on myself. But I'd be interested to hear if that's something you guys would do. And if it's not your first instinct, that's okay. That's why we're here. We're talking about that. And you can grow and become a person with stronger character. That's the way it's supposed to work. You start out as a baby, and you really, you're kind of all about yourself. You never hear a baby go, wah, 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 I want a bottle. Unless you want it, Mom. They never do that. They're kind of focused on themselves. But as we get older, we get better character, and we start to care more about others. So that's okay. The other thing that's interesting about that story, and it kind of fits what all superheroes do, you notice how Austin went out to feed the homeless. He picked the homeless as the group of people he wanted to help. You rarely hear a superhero say something like that, that billionaire's gold toilet needs fixing. Let's go help him. Or that really rich family needs a new private jet. Let's have a bake sale. You never hear that. Or that really popular kid in school, let's make her a bunch of friendship bracelets. No, she's already popular. It's usually people who need us that we like to help. There's people, heroes are always fighting injustice, right? So I think that's something that all heroes have in common, and that's another thing that we want to strive to do, find a group that needs our help. Superheroes, people with strong character, are always looking to change things for the better. And I've got another example I want to show you, another kid who saw an injustice, and she decided she wanted to right that wrong. And her name's Sarah. Let's watch the story.
So what were you here for?
Soccer game.
11-year-old Sarah Haycox was walking through this park in Shoreline, Washington,
Just about a year ago?
Yeah.
when she came across something curious.
It was like the beginning of a mystery.
Yeah.
A stone with a plaque.
This is what I first saw.
It was clearly a tribute. But to who?
Edwin Pratt, 1930 through 1969. And I'm like, wow, that's a really short life. I just did the quick math in my head. And you're like, he died at 39?
Did you wonder why?
Yeah, I'm just like, that's not typical.
As we first reported last year, since there were no other markings and no one around to ask,
No other clues.
Sarah took it upon herself to learn all she could about the life and death of Edwin Pratt. She learned he was director of the Seattle Urban League, worked on school desegregation, and was the first Black person to move into Sarah's town. It was a bold and fatal decision. Pratt was assassinated right there on the front porch.
It was just the lack of recognition. He's got to have something more than just a plaque outside of a bathroom.
About that same time, across the street from Sarah's school, she noticed the district was putting up a new early learning center. She found out it didn't have a name yet, and her wheels started turning.
Sarah launched a petition drive and went all over town, explaining to anyone who would listen why that new building should be named after Pratt.
Thank you for helping me honor Edwin Pratt.
Over time, she assembled quite a bandwagon.
Would all of those here tonight to support Edwin Pratt please raise your hands?
At this point, the school board really had no choice but to vote on her recommendation.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. The vote is unanimous. The motion carries.
It has been 9 months now since we first told this story, and today the Edwin Pratt Early Learning Center is open for business. Sarah recently took a tour with some Pratt relatives who flew in to meet her and rediscover him.
We as a family have gotten to know more about my uncle than I think we ever would have had this not happened. And we can't ever thank you enough for that.
Because of Sarah, there will never be another kid in Shoreline who doesn't know the name Edwin Pratt. And someday, if she keeps this up, everyone will also know the name.
Thank you.
Sarah Haycox.
Sarah for president.
Steve Hartman, on the road in Shoreline, Washington.
So, how about Sarah? She's great. Do we have a question here or a comment?
Yeah, comment.
somebody wrote in. Okay. Okay, when I was 9, I made care packages for the homeless instead of getting birthday presents. That reminds me so much of Austin. That's great. That's exactly what we're talking about. I think we watch something like what Sarah just did, and we think that having good character and being a hero means, changing the world in some big way, which she did. I mean, she got a school, the name of a school after her efforts, but it doesn't have to be that big. I mean, this is great. That's a great example of things that kids can do to show their character. Having character, as I said, isn't really about necessarily changing the world. It's about showing integrity. Integrity means that you can be trusted to tell the truth. People know when you say something, you mean it, and you're honest. It means having courage. Think of what Sarah did and how the courage that she had. She had to go stand up in front of a big group of people. That takes courage. She had to ask them for support. Asking grown-ups especially for anything is tough. You ever had to go around and sell Girl Scout cookies or really ask a grown-up for anything, even if it's just step over here to my table where I'm selling things at a bake sale? Just asking people for things is hard. It's important, but it does take courage. And sometimes it takes fortitude. That's another big word. But fortitude means having courage, even if it means you have to make a little sacrifice yourself. It means having courage in the face of adversity. And I think Sarah is just a great example. You can find that story online. Sometimes it's good to watch the stories a few times, because when you watch it the first time, you don't necessarily get the full impact of it. But you watch them over and over again, and sometimes you start to learn what makes Sarah tick, and makes it easier to emulate her. Let's see, we're going to go on to another story. This is another story about a girl who did something. She didn't set out to really do something amazing, but she had good, strong character, so that when an opportunity presented itself and she saw the moment, when she saw the moment before her, she saw a need, she was there to fill it. So let's watch this next story about a little girl named Ruby.
At a nursing home in northwest Arkansas, we found a gem named Ruby. 11-year-old Ruby Chitsey likes to go to work with her mom. Amanda is a nurse who travels to several nursing homes in the area. And it was on one of those visits that Ruby started going up to residents with her notepad.
If you could have any three things, what would they be? What would you want?
She came up with this idea, these questions?
Yes.
With the intention of what?
I don't think she had an intention, really.
Ruby says she was mostly just curious what they'd say.
Were you surprised?
Yes, I was very surprised. I thought people would say like money, houses, Lamborghini.
But instead, here's what she got. Electric razor, new shoes, Vienna sausage. For some reason, a lot of people asked for Vienna sausage and other really basic items.
Like, that's all they wanted. And I really decided that I needed to do something.
So she started a charity called 3 Wishes for Ruby's Residents.
I'm going to sit right beside you.
Now, while her mom is caring for patients,
Cheese.
Ruby goes room to room,
I love cheese.
I do too.
jots down wishes,
Avocados.
and then sets out to grant those wishes.
Thank you, sweetheart.
You're welcome.
Ruby has a GoFundMe to cover costs, but again, no one is asking for a sports car here. Her expenses are minimal, especially compared to the rewards.
It really lifts you. It really does.
On this day, she came back with a wheelchair full of sausages and other grocery items.
You have this huge chocolate pie that you can eat all by yourself.
But make no mistake, this isn't about food.
Watermelon and oranges.
No one has this kind of reaction over fresh fruit alone.
It's okay.
Thank you so much. I can't believe it.
Whether she knows it or not, Ruby is satisfying some much more basic human needs here. To be remembered, to be cherished, especially by a child. That is what our seniors are truly hungry for, and that is what Ruby brings every time she sets foot in a nursing home. Who needs a Lamborghini
You know, I'm a hugger.
when you've got home delivery of all the happy you can handle. Steve Hartman, On the Road, near Harrison, Arkansas.
Since we first told that story with Ruby, some pretty neat things have happened. Ruby set an example that a lot of other kids followed. A lot of kids started going around to nursing homes in their towns and doing the same thing. Ruby even put together a little video, sort of a tutorial about how if you wanted to do something similar in your town, you could follow her lead, and she explained how to get it done. Now, we can't really go around to nursing homes now, but maybe someday when this coronavirus thing is passed, that's something you might want to do. And what happened with Ruby and how other kids started picking up on it and traveling, and that's the neat thing about people with good, strong character, people who do random acts of kindness. It kind of spreads. It's like a virus almost. And I would say that that's what's going to help us beat this coronavirus thing, is the fact that kindness spreads even more easily than any kind of bad virus. Sometimes I've seen it many times where a good deed just it grows and gets bigger, and it grows exponentially. In fact, I keep a reminder of that on my desk. It's right here. It's a $20 bill, and it says Secret Santa on it. And I keep this because it reminds me of a story that I do every year about a guy named Secret Santa. And maybe you've seen some of those stories. He gives out $100 bills to random strangers, but that he meets just in thrift stores and laundromats. Gives away a lot of money, but you probably don't know the backstory. The backstory of that is many years ago in the town of Houston, Mississippi, a very poor man went into a diner there. He had no money. He had his car, but no gas in the car. He just lost his job. And he went into the diner and he sat down and he decided he was going to order the biggest breakfast on the menu. And he was going to run before paying it. That was his plan. But the owner of the diner, a guy named Ted Horn, he knew what was up. He knew this guy was down on his luck. And so he went behind him and he took a $20 bill, just a $20 bill, reached down, gave it to the guy. He said, "I think you dropped this." The poor man, the homeless man, thought, "Wow, my lucky day. There's a $20 bill there and this guy thinks I dropped it." He paid for his breakfast, took the extra money, put gas in his car, and drove down the street. As he was driving, he started to realize, wait a second. That $20 was not there when I sat down. That man gave me that $20. And he vowed right then and there that if he ever became wealthy, he would pay it forward. And he did become wealthy. And he decided every holiday around Christmas time, he would give away $100 bills to random strangers, just as a way of paying it forward. He gave away about $1 million to random strangers. When he died, another wealthy businessman took over, and he still gives away about $1 million. One $20 bill turned into $2 million. That is the power of what we're talking about. That's the power of kindness. Got a couple other notes from you guys. Here's Chase says, "When I grow up, I'm going to go around the world feeding people who are homeless." Chase, way to go. Ashley, 7 years old. "I'm a Girl Scout, and you do have to have courage to sell cookies or ask others for help. It can feel scary." I'm sure it can. A lot of times doing the right thing and making things and affecting change takes a lot of courage. And so you know exactly what I'm talking about. If you're selling Girl Scout cookies, you know exactly what I'm talking about. I got one more story that I want to show you. This last story is about, again, it's about the power of courage and the power of character to grow, and how it's important to set a good example because others are watching you. And sometimes if you do the right thing, others will do the right thing too. That's what happened in this story. Let's take a look.
How do kids behave when no grown-ups are around? Danette Mames of South Brunswick, New Jersey says, "You never really know."
Because you're not watching them at that moment and at that time.
She had always just assumed her son was good.
Right.
Until recently, when 13-year-old Gavin Mabes got caught on tape showing his true character.
Oh my God.
Gavin and some middle school friends had just arrived at a skate park. The park was empty, except for little Carter Brunel, who was here with his mother celebrating his 5th birthday. Carter is autistic. Big groups of older kids can make him nervous, so his mom, Kristen, was fully prepared to get him out of there. She just wasn't prepared for what happened next.
I don't know, they've really just shocked me. It was unlike any experience I think I've ever had.
You know how middle school kids sometimes operate like they're in a pack? Well, that's pretty much what happened here. Gavin led the way and the others followed. The only surprise was that Gavin didn't start trouble. He started a friendship.
This kid's already better than me.
Gavin's just going around with him and making him feel special. And the rest of his friends kind of followed suit and then started singing happy birthday to him.
Happy birthday.
That really blew me away. Because you just want to see the kindness in the world. And I wanted Carter to have a good birthday.
It was such a great birthday and such a kind deed. Even the local police department responded.
And we're going to throw you guys a pizza party next week over at school.
But here's the best part. Since their first meeting, Gavin and the middle schoolers have continued to go out of their way to play with Carter.
How you doing? He was just so happy and he made us all happy.
So fun to be around.
Yeah.
He's rad.
Yeah.
And as for the moms,
You're awesome.
for them, this was a moment of parenting utopia, where the only thing better than seeing your kid treated kindly is knowing that your kid is treating others kindly, even when you're not watching.
That was so cool.
I was just so proud of him.
You want a race?
He's good.
You did it right.
Thank you.
Steve Hartman, on the road, in South Brunswick, New Jersey.
Boys and girls, that's character. That's what it is right there. At the beginning, I asked you who your heroes were. And we talked about how our ideas of heroes have changed over time. For my folks, this is what hero was. This is the Marines raising the flag over Iwo Jima at the end of World War II. Today, this caught my eye to take on that same thing. But look who the heroes are. We see doctors and nurses, first responders, scientists. Those are the heroes we need today. I showed you 4 amazing kids today. Are they really that unusual, though? I kind of believe that most people, most kids, are heroes, and they're just waiting for their moment. And this may be your moment. Somebody just wrote us a note, said, can you give us examples of how the kids viewing can express their kindness in times like this, where they're physically unable to go out? I can, and that's actually the homework assignment. What I want you to do is I want you to think about the heroes we have today, right now. I want you to think about all the people who are making our lives better. Could be the doctors or nurses who are going to work to save lives, even during these troubled times. Even the cashiers who are going out, and the garbage men who continue to pick up the garbage during these times. I want to think about who your heroes are and who you think are saving the world today. And I want you to call them or write them a letter. I'm not talking about email, I'm talking about a real letter. You can either call or write a letter. If you do a telephone call, have your parents video you while you're making that phone call. If you write a letter, send me a picture of you writing the letter and a picture of the letter. If it's somebody that we agree is a hero and deserves some recognition, we may actually reach out to that person and talk to them, maybe even do an interview. And we may do a story on Friday on the evening news celebrating your hero. So that's your assignment. Get to it right away. The sooner we get your responses, the better the chance of us putting them on the news. And you want to know what you're going to do with that, Meryl? I need you for this. I need you to send all that to On the Road. Move closer, Meryl. Get closer. It's We will keep going, closer. Good. On the road at cbsnews.com. That's how you reach us, on the road at cbsnews.com. So hopefully I made that assignment clear. If not, we'll talk about it again tomorrow. And thank you, everybody, for coming to class today. Thank you, Meryl, for helping out. Emmett, George. Somebody's got one more question here. Your grandma's asking if everyone can wave hi. Okay, your grandma wants you to wave. Will you wave to your grandma? George, can you wave to your grandma? Emmett? Okay. All right.
Hi.
Everybody says hi. Okay, and hi to everybody else. And thanks again for watching. We'll be back tomorrow at 2 o'clock Eastern. Okay? Have a great day. Bye.
Pink.